Shalom. I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, and double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS that taught us His word. I just want to talk about, Amalek and how, the so-called Jews and how their fathers, inherited lies. Because last week at the camp, you had this so-called Jew come up, and he really believed that, that he's an Israelite. Um, but his father inherited lies and passed them down to him because the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are the true biblical Edomites. Um, and how do we know that? We know that through scriptures, through prophecy. The first scripture is Revelation 2:9. I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but the synagogue of Satan. It says, I know thy works and tribulation and poverty. Those so-called Jews, Amalek, they're not an impoverished, nation of people. They own all the industries. They own the baking industries. They own, the entertainment industries. If it's a Fortune 500 company, you best believe one of the Khazars are going to be on top. He's going to be a top position in that company. And who are the ones that are in the inner cities and the ghettos and the slums? The Negroes, Latinos, and the Native Americans. As a whole, for the most part, we're impoverished people. For the most part, you got Jake out there that got a little bit of money or whatever, but for the most part, our people are in poverty. But yeah, we also know through prophecy, when you read about Deuteronomy 28 and 68, that scripture's talking about the Atlantic slave trade. It says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Hence the word again. It's not talking about the first Egyptian captivity. The word Egypt just means bondage. So the Most High was going to bring us into bondage again with ships. By the way thereof, whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you, and no one saved us. And this prophecy right here only fits one group of people. Going into slavery with ships. The Atlantic slave trade. But yeah, they inherited lies from their father. This is Jeremiah 16 and 19. O Lord, my strength, my fortress, and my refuge in the day of affliction. And that's what we're looking for. For the Most High, Yahweh Yahushai, to be our fortress and our strength and our refuge in the day of affliction. The time of Jacob's trouble is coming up. We want to be hid in that day. And ultimately, we want to be delivered. And only the elect of Israel is going to be delivered and hid in that day. The Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth and say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit. Yeah, they inherited the lies. They took over, our culture. They took over our heritage and our land. It was passed down through generation to generation. Through Judaism, being an Israelite, or Jew, that's a nationality. That's not a religion. We have our laws, our statutes, and our commandments. But they follow Judaism. They follow the Talmud. It says, surely our fathers have inherited lies. And that guy, his fathers have inherited lies and passed it down to him. So he really believes, But ultimately, our people were scattered through all nations. So who knows? Maybe he is one. Maybe he's not one. But yeah, you're gonna have our people that are gonna come out of these different lands out here that are gonna look like the other nations as well. So you have to put that into account. Next scripture is Baruch, chapter 2, verse 32. And they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name. And we're seeing that now. We're praising the Lord and thinking upon his name, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Yahweh Yahushai, in the land of our captivity. And return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the way of their fathers, which sinned before the Lord. And I will bring them again into the land which I promised with an oath unto their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they shall be lords of it, and I will increase them, and they shall not be diminished. See, this prophecy hasn't happened yet. And I'll bring them again into the land. That's what we're waiting on for the real Israelites, to go back to the land of Israel. And that has not happened yet. But it's coming up real soon. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them to be their power, and they shall be my people, and I will no more drive my people of Israel out of the land that I have given them. Yeah, so this is what we're waiting on. The so-called Jews that are over in that land right now, they're not the real Jews. And we can prove it through the next scripture. Because once we get into our land, certain things are going to happen. One of them being, there's not going to be any more wars. And that's how we know that they're not the people, because there's been nothing but wars ever since they've been in that land. Like the Balfour Declaration and all that, there's been nothing but wars, no wars of the people. This is Isaiah 2:1. The word of Isaiah, the son of Amos, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. And it shall come to pass in the last days, the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains, and shall be exalted above the hills, and all nations shall flow into it. Yeah, Israel's going to be the top nation on the planet. And many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us his ways. We will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. Yeah. So when we get back into our land and the kingdom is established, everyone's going to follow our law. We're going to teach our doctrine. We're going to teach our law, statutes, and commandments. And everybody's going to have to follow our law. All nations on the planet. And that's another, it's another factor determining that those are not the real Israelites, the real Jews. Because, everybody has their own little doctrines, their own little religions that they're following. But in the kingdom, everybody's going to follow our ways. They're going to walk in our paths and keep our statutes and commandments. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. So that's the point right there, When Israel returns, when the Jews, when the elect, when the kingdom is established, and Israel's back in their homeland, in our rightful position, there's not going to be any more war, People are going to take their weapons, beat them into plowshares. Again, take their spears, beat them into pruning hooks, agricultural tools. There's not going to be any need for war. And ever since those so-called Jews, the Khazars, Amalek, ever since they've been in that land, there's been nothing but wars. Including this upcoming World War III. So that's how we know that those aren't the true people. Through biblical prophecy and through the scriptures, Yeah, our records, our family history was destroyed. You can't prove it through records going back or whatever. But the scriptures say, don't take heed to, endless genealogies, It's through the Spirit that we know that we're Israel. So yeah, I just want to do a quick little lesson on that, And with that,